Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, greetings, you industrial professionals all around the world. Thank you very much for joining the Industrial Talk Podcast. This platform is dedicated to you, the industrial professionals, the women and men who get it done. You are bold, you are brave, you dare greatly, and this is why we celebrate you each and every day on this particular podcast, because you deserve it. Yeah, we celebrate you because you are absolutely wonderful. All right, in the hot seat, in the industrial hot seat today is Jeff Hay. He is the CEO at RDI Technology. This is a Fluke Reliability Xcelerate20 interview conversation. And you're saying to yourself, Scott, the Fluke, how come I know about Fluke? And you're saying to yourself, I've seen that. Yep. They're much more than that, just black and yellow meter, which are fantastic. They include brands like Proof Technic, Mate, and Fluke Connect. And you know what? Jeff Hay, he's going to be talking. He's going to be speaking. He's going to be featured at Xcelerate20. Let's get going. Yeah. Great event. Great event. Must attend. Absolutely. And before we really jump into the interview with Jeff Hay, because I don't know, man, there's some great people out there. Jeff just happens to be one of them. And he's speaking at this particular event. And by the way, I need for you to get your pencil and paper out. It was sort of weird, pencil and paper. Maybe pen and computer. Maybe just your computer and put it on your calendar. Whatever the technology, whatever it is, make it happen. It is Tuesday, November 17th through Thursday, November 19th. And I'm telling you, they've got just an incredible amount of great speakers, Jeff being one of them. We're going to just keep on rolling these wonderful interviews out as long as they just keep coming on in. So once again, calendar, get it on there, November 17th to November 19th. Get it on there. Be a part of Xcelerate20. Now, one of the themes that happens with this particular event, and I think it's really pretty much focused on resiliency, business resiliency. What does that mean? What does the technology, what is innovation, what does that bring to the table for future resiliency, business resiliency? So I always talk about collaboration, right? Collaboration, innovation, and education being at the heart of resiliency. But you got to do it with a sense of speed and purpose. And boy, do you have to be tenacious. And the speakers at this particular event, Xcelerate20, definitely fall into that category. And the theme, of course, Xcelerate20 is all about resiliency and the solutions that are being provided with their technology, with their innovation, with their incredible thinking. I can't speak enough about that. Because especially today, and kudos to Fluke Reliability, that they see the necessity to be able to bring to you, the listeners, and hopefully the future participants of Xcelerate20, solutions that are truly geared toward resiliency. That's important. I mean, I can't get around it. I mean, I'm all passionate about it. You know I am. What the heck, man? Yeah, I mean, I'm just a big fan of industry, and boy, I'll tell you, Fluke Reliability leading the way with their solutions, and of course, the people at Fluke Reliability. All right, now I'm going to have all this information out on industrialtalk.com. You don't worry. And if you come to me and say, Scott, I can't find it, well, you're lying because, well, it's all out there because you need to attend it. Jeff Hay is in the seat, right? He is in the Industrial Talk hot seat. He is the CEO at RDI Technologies. We're talking motion amplification, but how does that motion amplification, how does technology, how does innovation really feed into the necessity for resiliency? That's what he brings to the table. That's what he drops, right? Truth on this particular podcast. Enjoy Jeff Hay on the Industrial Talk Podcast. Jeff, welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast. Absolute honor that you have found time in your busy schedule, because I know you are busy, to talk to the listeners of the Industrial Talk Podcast. How are you doing?
Good. How are you, Scott?
I'm well, thank you very much. Now, before we get going, I want a little background on who you are and where you're at and all that good stuff, so that we can level set for the listeners out there. And then we're going to start talking a little bit about, resiliency, business resiliency, what you bring to the table and how that impacts business. But before we go there, give us a little 411 on who Jeff is.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Jeff Hay. I'm the CEO of RDI Technology. So we really are a company focused around computer vision for maintenance and reliability. So we developed a technology called motion amplification that allows you to use a video camera to be able to measure vibration and use that tool on an asset such as a motor in the maintenance and reliability space to be able to determine asset health.
Before I forget, now, if I'm looking at that asset using your technology, and I mean, listeners, you got to go out to RDI Technologies and look at some of those videos, because they're pretty doggone cool. I like it a lot. I look at it. I don't know why, but I do. It's like looking at a lava lamp there, Jeff. You just stare at it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. You're like, what's it doing? How could it be doing that, right?
Yeah. Anyway, but you go out there. But in the world of the PF curve, are you capturing, if my asset is doing what your video is doing, right? Mm-hmm. Am I just late to the game on that PF curve? And can you define PF curve, please, for us?
Yeah, so PF curve essentially tells you about a potential failure and the time at which that potential failure can occur. So essentially, it's kind of plotting the life of an asset and your risk with that asset over time. And as the asset's life continues, the chance of a failure goes up with a fault being manifest in the asset. And so essentially, with the technology, you really want to try to maximize your technologies in ways to be able to detect those faults as early as possible. And better yet, if you can detect those faults before they even go into commission, you're sort of getting into, before it even enters into the PF part of the curve.
Yeah, and so if you look at a curve, it's got a little slope to it, and that's fine. The key is to be able to say, okay, one can say that an asset, just by virtual wear and tear, is there's a lot of demands on it, and it's getting worked pretty hard. But you can, with technology, be able to look at that asset and be able to a certain extent, when you want to begin to perform proper maintenance on it, which is always a good thing, right? And your technology allows that insights into that particular asset. Is that correct?
Yeah. So there's sort of a host of things that you can detect that are sort of, I would say, bread and butter faults, like misalignment, soft foot looseness, sort of the big ones. And, the key is trying to detect those as early as possible. So you have the most amount of preparedness, for when you want to handle that fault, the best case scenario is that you have planned downtime that is upcoming, that you're at very little risk really to leverage that downtime to be able to repair that fault. If, for example, you don't catch it soon enough, you're kind of running the risk of a failure occurring before you're ready, before you're planned, and then it's catastrophic. And then you have collateral damage, and you can imagine the value of detecting that fault earlier is tremendous.
And there's really no reason why you can't. I mean, the tools and that are out there, the innovation that is out there, especially with your particular product, your solution, is it's not difficult to operate, is it?
No, it's not difficult. We always encourage people to be trained on their technology, so they maximize them to the fullest. But no, it's not difficult. Along with a lot of other technologies that are out there, with the proper training, anybody can really pick up these tools and really leverage them. In some form with our technology, for example, there is an element that's very similar to capturing video, where it's sort of like you record a video and then you press a button and you're watching it amplified, and you can see it move, and all the different pieces kind of dance around.
No, I'm telling you, it's pretty damn cool. I'm telling you that right now. I like it. Now, you brought up a good point. Now, when we start talking about business resiliency, and we talk about, especially pre-virus, there was this, I don't know, a different view on how I'm approaching business, how I approach reliability, how I leverage technology and going forward. And maybe I would have a 2 to 5 year, strategic plan on when I want to deploy all this stuff. COVID hits, two-finger death punch, boom, hits you over the forehead. And now all of a sudden, business, the conversation is, well, what are we going to do? How do we create a business of resiliency if, unfortunately, something happens in the future? Now, let's talk a little bit about that. I'm all big into collaboration, innovation, and education. And now is the time, a sense of speed and purpose. What I hear you say, Jeff, is that, first off, I have no answer. I don't have all the answers. I got to interact with individuals like you that have an answer, have technology, have the ability to educate. Can you sort of expand a little bit upon why that technology is important, specifically when it's around business resiliency?
Yeah, sure. So, the first part of that is having the technology in place, right? Having the technology in place so that in a situation, let's take the COVID example, that happened pretty quick. Things don't change like that, that drastically.
Yeah, it was like right. Monday fine, Tuesday bad.
That's right. And so we're aware of the situation now that, it's a sort of a fool me once scenario where, we know this can happen. So, and so are the technologies in place? That's really, I think, a key question you have to ask yourself. If not, well, what do I need to do to get the technologies in place? And then, so there's a second step to that. After that is, are the technologies in place, and is my workforce properly trained on those technologies?
Yes.
Because if we have the technologies in the building when this happened, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference if we're not properly trained on that. Now, there were some, kind of things that happened, a lot, remote training and things like that I think people started leveraging, and that's great. And I think that's going to be another thing that we're going to probably adopt, large scale. But having that training piece is very important because, it's not uncommon for, a facility to have lots of technologies that are going unused and gathering dust on the shelf just because their workforce is not trained on it. When there's tremendous value, just really easy, low-hanging fruit to pick up those technologies and get people trained on them and get them moving with them.
That is such a absolute accurate analysis of these tools. Like I said, pre-virus, these tools were probably sitting on the shelf in somebody's cubicle. The individual that was originally trained on moved on, and it just sort of sits there, and the software is not updated. It's just a mess. And then come the virus, now everybody's realizing, hey, these are important. We need to figure them out. We need to at least deploy the people to get out there to do it so that we can at least begin having the technology in place to be able to do what we need to do to create this business of resiliency. But I would imagine, Jeff, the challenge would be, we all know that there's going to be this next normal. Right now, we're sort of right in the middle of it, and we see the sense of urgency, and we need to be resilient, or whatever we want to call it. But we're going to get lazy. There's going to be a point in time where and I see a challenge of sustaining that. Do you have the same insights, or what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that we really, it's one of these scenarios where we talk about reliability, we talk about resiliency, in a company that was not necessarily preparing for this, right, but had a proper maintenance and reliability program up and running, would have a much longer run rate going into this. The building, things are starting to open up, facilities have the things in place, but there was a period of 2 to 3 months that was pretty serious for not letting visitors in and not allowing people to visit. And so the question was, were you prepared for that? And if you had a normal maintenance and reliability program that was up to speed, that was current, your workforce was trained, you could probably get away with a much longer period of time when you were under that sort of lockdown. And that's the sort of thing that I think people need to take away from this, in the sense that just getting things up and running and properly in place with your maintenance and your reliability programs allow, just preparedness for any sort of event happening.
We all understand that there's the challenge of COVID. I got that side of the sword, but then there's this other side of the sword which created the opportunity, and people are having more meaningful conversations and are focused on what is important, and maintenance and having a reliability program mature, or at least begin that process, is a conversation that people are having today. Beforehand, they were like, I've been there, done that. And then all of a sudden this happens, and then they realize, ouch, if I was a little less stubborn and less reactive and whatever, less distracted, I would have been a little bit better off today, because I would have had a more of a mature reliability. So I think that is a really a good thing that happened as a result of
silver.
COVID.
There's always silver linings, right? And we'll take them no matter what. Yeah,
exactly. But that there's going to be there are always going to be roadblocks, and I just reiterate the necessity to innovate, the necessity to use technology to its fullest, like you've so aptly put. The problem I deal with, and help us understand, Jeff, is that you and your team at RDI are just absolutely mad crazy on doing the best and constantly changing and pushing the envelope. Me, not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm still having a hard time evaluating the prior versions. Help me understand how I can get up to speed, and what strategies do I need to in my head to do this?
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's a timely question, because I think even that's evolving. So it's true. We as a company have a mindset that we're constantly innovating. We're releasing new features and new capability, and essentially because our tool is cutting edge anyway, in the sense of using a camera as a sensor. These are pretty. Sometimes our updates are pretty monumental in kind of the change in the way people use our tool. And we do, even us, we struggle with making sure that our customer base and the market is educated on that. One of the things that, and I will say, in terms of the timeliness of everything that's going on, is we've been really engaging the community online and providing a lot of sort of educational awareness and educational webinars and that sort of thing. And our engagement has been really, really positive on that. So we as a company make it a point to try to make sure that awareness and education is on our tool is in the forefront. So those sort of tools and those things are available on a rolling basis, so that you can sort of jump in a webinar and see what the latest is, because the product today that we offer is not the same product that it was a year ago. And so
that's amazing. That is amazing to me, because it does. And I guarantee you guys are sitting there going, I didn't know we could do that too. We can refine. That makes it clearer. That makes the analysis, the data, information better. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we really try to, we really try to work on this education piece. And then two, the other piece about it is, I think this industry, they're used to technology, so we're fortunate that they adopt and like technology. But our tool is a little bit different in that it's not the traditional plots and graphs that vibration analysts are used to looking at. Yeah. So we have a challenge there of just getting people's mindset around, hey, now, it's a video, and how do I leverage a video and integrate that with my reliability program to be able to, utilize it, maximize it to its fullest, and not use the tool with preconceived notions of a traditional sort of vibration tool. So that's something we really, really work on.
That's an interesting, because vibration analysis, the traditional vibration analysis has been around since the beginning of time almost, and so it's a very mature industry and how they look at vibration, and they're constantly refining that as well. And here comes RDI, and you're saying, we've got this video that allow or this technology that allows you to actually, for me, layman person, I don't have to look at the little squiggly lines. I can actually see it. Do you align your technology with the sort of the traditional vibration, thinking out there?
We do. We make sure we cast it in that perspective so that people understand what it is we're trying to do with it, but extend it. We can, with our tool, you could measure, you can draw boxes in the video, and it will make a virtual sensor there that will provide you with the squiggly lines, the time waveform, and the
Yes.
But that's just a small piece of it. And that's sort of to connect it with that traditional methodology, but we can extend that further, like give a colorized image of the vibration, give a video of the vibration, and give these other tools that allow you to hone in. Because if you think about our technology, most people are used to using maybe a multi-channel analyzer. Maybe it has
Yes.
3 channels on it, right? It's 3. Whereas we have 2.5 million pixels that are each a sensor. So now it's like you have 2.5 million vibration data points. And so you have to think about that. You can't look at each one, you have to do a lot of data reduction, and so we have tools that help with that to try to, you've got to, it's, one of the things I like to call it full field vibration. You're doing vibration over an entire field of view. And so it's not quite as simple as just putting your sensor on, something and saying, okay, this is, I'm just going to get this one data point. You have all these data points that you can gather, and so you really have to think about it differently.
You do, and I mean, and that's an education in itself, because forever we looked at vibration a certain way, and now all of a sudden you come in and say you can look at it this way too, and it is meaningful, and it is tactical, and it is a way of being able to extend the life of that asset if you know how to do it, and if you know how to use the tool correctly. I just think it's cool. Now, last question: where do you see it going, Jeff? I mean, where do you guys? I mean, already I'm impressed, and I see the stuff, the product that you're producing out there. Where do you see it going? What's the next sort of horizon on all this?
One thing is I'll say about where we are, it's really exciting to be in the camera space right now. You've got cameras that, do anything from they'll send me a ticket, a fee every time I cross a bridge, automatically to my doorstep, and then, they'll drive cars, and now they analyze machinery vibration. So, that it's really exciting to be able to leverage a technology like that moving forward. One of the things that I think that our cameras are known for, sort of ubiquitous, are security cameras, where they're everywhere. You can measure anything and everywhere. We just launched a continuous monitoring product that is fully networkable. You can put as many cameras on a network as you want, and start covering and monitoring 24/7 and get email notifications. So, camera technology can really be leveraged this way, because we already do it in other industries.
Yeah, you can never escape now. All of a sudden you can, I got this little 4K camera up here, but it's like, there it is. It's
a pretty powerful device.
It is. It's pretty sophisticated. A lot of stuff inside we take for granted, but there's a lot of sophistication and technology in there. All right. Are you active out there on LinkedIn there?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. You can look me up, Jeff Hay. And then the company's very active, RDI Technologies. We have a motion amplification group you can join. And then we have a YouTube page that has, pop some popcorn, pull up a chair, and you can watch endless motion amplification videos.
It is. I'm telling you, it's like a lava lamp in vibration. I'm going to stare at it, or just it's right there, man. It's like you just can't get enough of that. All right, listeners, that is Jeff Hay. RDI, what does that stand for?
Well, it's really just RDI nowadays, but research, development, innovation is what it originally was. But it's become, just RDI.
Thank goodness, because that would be a long domain.
Yeah, it would be. It would probably available, but
I guarantee it's available. Yeah. I guarantee it. All right. RDI Technologies is the company. Jeff Hay is the CEO of that fine team. I'm telling you, man, it's great stuff. You need to go out to their website, you need to go out to their YouTube channel, look at this stuff because it's fantastic. We were talking a little bit about resiliency. They are a company that is truly collaborative, innovative, and definitely love the education side of that, and they're doing it with a sense of speed and purpose. All right, Jeff, you were wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much for joining the Industrial Talk Podcast. You have a wonderful day, my friend.
You too. Thanks, Scott. Always a pleasure.
All right, you listeners, we're going to wrap it up on the other side. All the contact information, and maybe I'll just sort of take one of those videos and slap it out on his podcast just because it's cool. Cool stuff. All right, stay tuned.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, Jeff Hay, rock star. You heard it. You heard it from the man himself. RDI Technologies is the company. We're talking innovation. We're talking resiliency. We're talking about collaboration, innovation, education, speed, purpose, tenacity. Doggone it. Bring your A game. We need you now more than ever. Pencil and paper, computer, whatever you want, get it on your calendar ASAP. We're talking about Xcelerate, right? Xcelerate. November 17th through Thursday, November 19th, featuring some of the best within reliability, innovation, big thinkers in that world, right? Don't miss out. Go out to, well, you can go to industrialtalk.com. There's a link out there. Fluke Reliability is bringing out this Xcelerate20. All right. I'll challenge you to be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with people who are bold, brave, and dare greatly. Your world is going to change. The way you look at the world is going to change. Another great Xcelerate interview right around the corner. Thank you very much for joining. Be safe.